Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Year of Underrated Stephen King podcast. My name is Kim C. I am a university creative writing teacher specializing in fiction workshop, and this is my one-woman Stephen King podcast where we regularly preach the good news of Stephen King's gorgeously powerful writing, but we also stay plugged in with his fan/reading community and speak to the people about which King title launched 1,000 ships, which character do they still think about in their day-to-day lives, and which stories keep them company on the longest of nights. Today, sweet listeners, I get some one-on-one time with a tremendously lovely lady and horror book podcaster, Stephanie Gagnon from Books in the Freezer. A few weeks back, Stephanie and I had the great pleasure of connecting from our mutual friend and sweet southern sister, Anna Rose Reeds. We all had a blasty blast talking about some deep, dark, heavy, and female-centered King works that left me not only wanting to talk more King with Stephanie, but I also just really enjoyed chatting with cool, smart women who love books. And Stephanie G is all of those things, 3 for 3, which makes her, as you all know, as awesome as they get. You guys know I love my King-loving gal pals, and Stephanie has the gal pal magic that makes me very giddy. It's hard to accurately make this info land for the listeners with boy parts, so just trust me on this. There is something so great, so enthralling and exciting as a female when you meet another lady who is simply a 10 out of 10. At least for me, they fill you with admiration, respect, enthusiasm, and above all, inspiration. There is nothing like it in the world, and I might be a bit more sensitive to it because Kim C is the eldest daughter of the family with no one under her but brothers. But nevertheless, I will never not relish the opportunity to chat King with a sister from another mister. For today's Constant Reader interview, Stephanie G tells me all the names on her character kill list, her save list, which King female we both need to tend and befriend, favorite endings, King and the dark side of religion, and so much more. It's jammed, it's juicy, it's a complete delight, and I can't thank Stephanie enough for being such a terrific guest of honor. Let's get to it, my dudes. Please enjoy today's Constant Reader interview with Stephanie Gagnon from Books in the Freezer. All right, listeners, I am so thrilled beyond thrilled to have the opportunity to interview our guest today. She is host of the most of one of the coolest horror podcasts out there. This is Stephanie Gagnon from Books in the Freezer. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi. I am so excited to be here.
Me too. I am just full of the friend energy. I had such a wonderful opportunity to chat with Stephanie previously on Anna Rose Reeds. And so it is such a delight to have you on my little corner. So thanks for being here.
Yeah, and we had a big talk about 2 Stephen King books, so it seemed fitting.
Super fitting. So many cool things were exchanged, such cool perspectives. So of course I had to be greedy Gus over here and ask Stephanie to be my friend. So I'm so excited that you're here. We are going to dive in with Stephanie's personal history with Stephen King's books. But before we do that, Stephanie, I'm sure everybody is a huge fan of Books in the Freezer, but just in case they came out of the cave today, can you tell everybody what your podcast is about and any fun things you're working on?
Yeah, so Books in the Freezer is a book recommendation podcast. So I have a guest on and we each pick a topic or a niche like food horror or road trip horror. And then we each recommend 3 books on the Joey Tribbiani freezer scale. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I always ask at the end of the episode for Final Girl songs and I keep all the songs in a playlist. So it's really fun. And then last year on Patreon, I started a series going through all of the Fear Street books. And I think I'm up to the 20th now. That's been such a fun ride because I was a Goosebumps kid growing up. I really wasn't the audience for Fear Street when it was coming out. So these are mostly first time reads.
Oh, how fun. And they're very teenage, right?
Oh, yeah. Like people have boyfriends and they're going on dates, you know?
I remember probably being a sixth grader and getting my hands on a Fear Street.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't remember what it was called, of course, but if you find it on your Fear Street journey, let me know. It has to do with roller skates.
Oh, okay. If I find it, you'll have to be the guest.
Oh my gosh, please, please and thank you. Because I was a sixth grader and basically one of the victims dies by like a very violent roller skate. And you'd think it would be bludgeoning, but it's not. It's like a very violent choking on the roller skate. I was like, whoa, I'm in sixth grade, scarred for life in a good way. And so I'm very excited for you to find this one on your journey.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm going to be looking out for it now. Oh my God.
Please do. So if you encounter a very graphic roller skate death in an alley, it's burned in my memory forever. Please email me immediately.
Will do.
All right, we're going to get started with the constant reader interview. Stephanie is on our throne, and we are going to ask the very first question, which is, how old were you when you read your very first Stephen King story, and which title was it?
I just realized as I was thinking about these questions that I have been giving the wrong answer for this question for a while. I was like, I was 24 and it was it. But I was, mulling over these questions this week, and I remembered that when I was 22 and I was pregnant with my son, I had picked up a copy of The Shining and I was reading it. And, I'm a young mom, like reading the best way to take care of your baby. And they're like, you should read out loud to them. And I was like, well, I'll just read him what I'm currently reading right now. So I read a lot of The Shining out loud to my son.
I love it. Is he interested in?
Yeah, he's very recently kind of gotten into horror. So that's been such a fun journey. He watched all of the It movies. He wants to watch The Shining. Like we've just kind of been going through and checking stuff off. But yeah, I don't think he knows that he was read passages of The Shining while he was in utero.
Dude, I love this. I love this because The Shining, of course, has Wendy and Danny Torrance, and those two are like a little unit, this
Yeah.
mother-son unit. This is so cool, Stephanie. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, and it was funny too, because growing up, like my teen years, we were in this very fundamentalist Christian household. So I was not allowed to read Stephen King. So it very much was like I, graduated college, got married, and I was like, I'm finally on my own. I can do all the things that like I'm an adult in the world. What are the things I'm gonna do? I watched like Sex and the City and One Tree Hill and read Stephen King.
Rebellion. Oh, I love it. That's so awesome. That was, oh man, we just came, of course, from a chat where we were discussing some very feminist King works. And so you mentioned how when you were finally free, and that struck such a chord of like what that must have been like to be like, oh, this is my life now.
Yeah, that is truly.
How many King titles would you say you've conquered thus far on your reading journey?
I checked. I think I'm about 22.
Nice. Double digits is a good number.
Yeah. It's always so daunting though to look at the whole list and you're like, well, I was feeling proud of myself until I looked at how much I have left to go, but it's something.
I feel the same. It's been a very long journey and I'm nowhere near finished, but it's okay. All right, this next question is asking about looking at the Stephen King community and some of the really popular titles. And you've noticed they get a lot of love, but maybe you don't feel like it deserves a lot of love and vice versa. Is there a novel that you feel is just really awesome, but nobody seems to share that opinion?
I want to say Nightmares and Dreamscapes for me, the short story collection. I listened to the audiobook when I was working a night job, and it has an absolute stacked cast of narrators. It's like Rob Lowe, Whoopi Goldberg, Lisa Yeardley, Stephen King, Cronenberg. And the stories are so fun. I think from someone who grew up loving the Twilight Zone, it has a lot more of his like really horror-y stories. I know, and people say like Nightmares and Dreamscapes is more of a mixed bag because he has like, a nonfiction piece on baseball and he has like, this type of story and that type of story. But I just had so much fun with it. It's a 27-hour audiobook. And I think like if you try to buy the audiobook, you have to buy it in like three separate parts. Like that's how giant it is. And I think people tend to not think highly of Nightmares and Dreamscapes, and I think they're wrong.
Oh, I love this so much, Stephanie. That's such a great answer. I think that might be the first time I've ever heard it. So I'm just celebrating this. This is awesome.
Okay.
You're so right. I'm actually in the middle of it. I haven't finished the collection, but you're so incredibly right. It's got some really awesome little shooters in there that are so much fun. There's really fun vampire ones on there, Night Flyer and Popsy, and
The Moving Finger, they got a hell of a
yeah,
band. Like, what do you mean?
I know. Oh, I love this. You're right. It is a short story collection that doesn't get as much love. One of my listener friends described it as eclectic, and I think that's really perfect. It's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag of treats in there, and some people enjoy that, and others are like, "No, I want my Thanksgiving dinner from Stephen King. I don't want little mixed candy bag." But it is very fun to explore.
Yeah, absolutely. And as an audiobook, incredible.
So many stars. Huge fan. And I love when they get the actors to narrate the books because they are professional and they just like bring it to life. And you're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
take my money.
Yeah. Well, just the production value they put into like Stephen King short story collections. I was listening to Everything's Eventual this week, and just the little like glittery sounds they use in between stories, it's like I like those little touches.
Everything's Eventual is one of my favorites. Oh my goodness.
I love Everything's Eventual. It's funny when growing up, when I was not allowed to read Stephen King, I remember like going to the library and like looking at the Stephen King section and being very taken with the cover of Everything's Eventual with the glass of water with like the blood in it.
It's such a great cover. Oh, I love this memory of yours. It's so good. I love that the path was sort of always set for you. Like you were being romanced years before. I love this. Okay, let me jump to one of my favorite questions. I can never be patient with this one. I always want to zoom right over to it. Do you have any favorite Stephen King villains?
Yeah, I would say one of the villains that was most effective for me or that stressed me out will make, complete sense given my background, but it is Margaret White. And I think there's just something about the impenetrability of like religious psychosis or religious mania. I recorded an episode with Joe Hill and we were talking about villains and he was asking like, which type of villain is scarier? Is it a Freddy that's like laughing at your pain or like laughing in your face? Or is it someone like Michael Myers? And I'm like, I think for me it's Michael Myers. I think just this like you can't reason with him. Like there is no change in what you're saying. Like I don't know, you don't even get the feeling or the hope that like something could resonate. And that's how it is with Margaret White because it's just this religious angle where she is so convinced that she is doing the right thing with this like, twisted ideology. And I mean, you get hints of what happened to her and she is a little bit of a tragic character in that way, but it's just, I think, the impenetrability of like religious fundamentalism that really scared me. One that I don't know if people think she's a villain necessarily, but I have a lot of love for Nadine. I think she's a very tragic character. And I don't know, do people consider her a villain?
Some do,
Okay.
sadly, but I'm with you, Stephanie. She will never be a villain in my book.
I just feel like also for her, the path was set for her so early on, like with the Ouija board and like hearing the voices, like I don't know. And I just feel like R.I.P. Nadine, you could have really benefited from like a feminist lecture in a college setting. Like, I feel like your downfall was that you centered men too much. And if you had maybe learned to not do that, there could have been hope for you.
Oh man, that moves me so much because I love the character of Nadine and I'm with you. She's a lost soul to me. She is somebody who tragically had this twisty turny path and you succinctly put it so perfect. That's what she did. She centered Flag and Larry. She did it with both of them. You're so right. Oh, I love that so much. That really speaks to me.
Yeah. And it's sad because like I feel like she tried to be good and tried to do the right thing until she was like, well,
She is not irredeemable in that way. And sadly, yeah, I think I always want to have a deeper conversation with the people who consider her a villain because I do feel they're a little close-minded about it and they're not observing the complexity because like you said, she was just manipulated from moment one. She never really had a chance.
yeah.
Good choices. Oh,
Thank you.
solid. Margaret is, oh God, she's so sinister in that she is this really, really terrible mom in the cruelty to her daughter, but then also coming at it with the religious fervency and
Yeah.
the shame. And right when Carrie's at her most vulnerable development and full of fear, and you need your mom in those
Yeah.
moments more than we even want if you don't have the nicest mom, and then to just have her abuse as your mother and then also as this person who's Bible thumping in front of you. It's awful.
Yeah.
Great choice. We are jumping toward the reread experience question. Tell me about your Stephen King rereading experience. Which ones get a second read and what it's like?
Not too many have, but I feel like more should. I, as you know, had to reread Gerald's Game a few years ago for an episode I did, and then when we recorded our episode, I reread Dolores Claiborne. And every time I do a reread, I just feel like I get so much more out of everything. I re-listen to the Stephen King short story collections a lot because they just feel like a warm hug. Like, I don't know, they just feel like coming home. So of novels, I think only Gerald's Game and Dolores Claiborne, but I've re-listened to like Everything's Eventual and stories from like Nightmares and Dreamscapes and stuff like that.
I love this. I really enjoy that you're a short story repeater. That's precious because I feel those are slept on in the King community a little bit. A lot of readers love the big fatty daddy novels that they have reread so many times over the years. And so I like that the short stories are ones that you prioritize. That's special.
Yeah.
Okay, we are going to talk about Stephen King endings. And so most King readers and most horror readers are fine with how they go, but sometimes the endings can really ruin the experience. Sometimes. Do you have a King title where you were unsatisfied, or do you have a favorite King ending?
So I feel like everyone's gonna be mad at me when I say this, but for me, it was The Stand. Because as you say, like I'm a short story gal. I like a short, concise book. So I really went out of my comfort zone with The Stand and pushed through it. And like, don't get me wrong, I was in it. I was enthralled. I was following these characters. I was on their journey. And then it got to the hand of God, and I was like, no,
Yeah.
no, this isn't what we're doing. Mm-mm, mm-mm. And I've heard so many people and fans talk about it, and they're like, but that's the point. And I'm like, I get it. And then maybe I'm just not that reader. I will say the first time I read Revival, I did not care for the ending. I think the more I've sat with it and gotten older, that's another one that deserves a reread. And I was also in a very different place in my like faith journey and like general attitude about the afterlife. So maybe I just wonder if like me at a completely different point in my life, if I would just have a very different reading on that ending. I know that's a favorite of yours.
It is. Oh my gosh. But with The Stand, your feelings are valid. I love The Stand so much, but I think I have a problem with why he decided to make it the literal hand. Like,
Yeah,
it's a literal palm. I don't like that, Stephanie.
I don't either. Well, and okay, that was like another Patreon project I did where I got my husband, who is not like a Stephen King reader, not a horror guy, but loves post-apocalyptic stories. I got him to read it with me, and the way he was like looking at me like, "Are you serious right now? This is what happens." So it was double bad that I was like I had forced someone else to read it, and like they also hated it.
And I feel like if he just would have taken his foot off the gas just a tiny bit and made it a bit more ambiguous, like
Yeah.
a spirit or a heavenly presence or however you want to phrase it, and just not made it so descriptive, we might not have so many upset readers out there.
I mean, I still love this stand and I think about the characters. And like I said, like reading it, I was just so immediately sucked in, as you are, when you're reading a Stephen King book. So it's like I don't regret the journey. But when I got there, I was like, I really pushed through this, man.
You're not alone in that ending. And that's the thing, it's like 1,000 pages too. And so by the time you get there, it's like, okay, I have feelings. This is not gonna work. I am so thrilled for you to reread Revival in the future
Okay.
because I think you're exactly right. The passing of time and one's deconstruction and wherever you find yourself in terms of, yeah, just life's journey, it hits because I find it very bleak
Yeah.
and I still do. But I think, I don't know, maybe as one gets more calloused or more resilient as we grow older, we're like, yeah, sure, whatever.
I think I have more of an appreciation for a bleak ending now too.
Yeah, yeah. Like, okay, if that is how it all goes down, well, what can we do about it?
Nothing at all. So,
Absolutely. We are going to take a look at a question I super duper have fun with. Looking at characters, is there anyone you would like to see in a standout prequel or sequel? Very similar to Danny from The Shining, we see him as a young child and then we see him as an adult in Doctor Sleep. Is there anybody who you would like to get more screen time with?
I was thinking about this and I'm not a big like prequel or sequel person. And I was thinking about even the characters that I love. And I feel like they just have such a great, hopeful ending that I really don't need more from them. Like I love Dolores Claiborne and the note that it ends on with like her kids coming home and like visiting her and her preparing. And, Jesse Burlingame, like getting her groove back and like having this new lease on life. Like I feel like everywhere I'm left with my favorite characters, I'm like satisfied with.
I think that's a healthy stance to have. It's nice to kind of just find peace with where they're
Yeah.
at. I like that a lot. I ask this question to a lot of writers. I love this question so much. Someday I'm going to do a fan fiction project where I'm going to ask creatives to dream up their idea for what happens to Charlie McGee from Firestarter. She is 9 years old when the novel ends. And so, firstly, do you like Firestarter? Have you read that one?
I haven't read that one.
Okay. We will shelf this question, but I might, once you read it, I'm going
Okay.
to ask your thoughts. She's like a little baby Daenerys Targaryen from 1980, and she's 9, and the book ends, and we never find out what happens to her. And it's just something I think about at 2 a.m., wondering what happened. And I'm going to create some sort of fan fiction
As you should. Yeah.
initiative where I want writers to dream up.
An anthology. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's sort of, it's in the stew pot. It's a little seed
Yeah.
I've been watering with great frequency and fervency. So we'll shelve that for next time, but I'm excited to hear your thoughts. Okay, we are jumping to with some of the fun questions, which are just fun little shooters. If you could get stuck in a fictional king setting, which place would you choose? It could be for a couple weeks, the summer, forever, however you want to do it.
Okay, when I tell you this, I feel like you're going to be like, you did not understand the point of that novel. Um, but one thing you need to know about me is I love antiquing and a thrift store. So I'm going to say I'm going to be in Castle Rock and I'm going to be checking out needful things and stopping by, even if I'm getting glamored into buying trash. Or I work there and I have a little cat and I have taken over post Leland Gaunt era.
Oh my God, I've never heard this. We have to unpack it. I love it so much. This is so great. So you're a thrifter and
Yes.
you are going to be brave and we're going to decurse all the items and Stephanie's going to catalog and inventory everything. I love this.
No, we went to Morgantown a few weeks ago, and every time we go somewhere, I visit an antique store in the area. And we went to an antique store, and there was just like a lady there reading a book with like her basset hound at her feet. I would have a cat, but I'm like dream life, TBH, like just chilling out in an antique store with my animal reading. So,
Quick follow-up. I wouldn't call myself an antiquer, but I do love to shop and I love antique shops. I love vintage things, especially from the 50s and 60s and things that have to do with clothes. So I'm circling the antiquing zone, I think. But when you go into an antique store, do you have anything that you are seeking and or you head to find, or is it just you are slow and steady and you just start looking everywhere and everything is up for your eyes?
I definitely start looking for wall decor, like paintings or like framed cross-stitch pieces, just like something eclectic and fun. My living room has kind of a Victorian theme, so just stuff to add to that. And then my husband's aesthetic is more like the dark wood old maps. So, we're kind of just mixing all that together into a fun eclectic mix.
I love that. It's like almost steampunk tea party. How fresh.
But also very floral and colorful. I like a lot of color.
Same, samesies. Love this. This is what I also love about horror people. Like they think that we're just black goth lace. No. Or rainbows. I love that answer. It's so fresh. I've never heard it on the show before. It makes me so happy. Okay, we are going to jump to film and television. Do you have any favorite adaptations?
I love the 90s It miniseries. I think because I watched it at my cousin's house as a child and it scarred me for years. I love the Shining movie, I love Shawshank Redemption. I have a comfort spot for Cat's Eye, the anthology movie. It's just such a warm hug of like 80s anthology horror. I don't know. And then like Drew Barrymore and the little cat like going around and you see like CUJO and Christine at the beginning. It's insane. But every time that movie is on streaming, I'm like, this is what we're doing. We're watching Cat's Eye.
Oh, some gems, vintage gems. It's so nice.
And Creepshow, obviously.
That one is one I haven't watched yet, which I know is like a crime among crimes. I know.
It's so fun.
I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm gonna do it. It's just been years, years and years and years on the back burner because it's
Yeah.
just been covered, but I'm gonna do it. And so you've reminded me. I need to make it happen.
Yeah. That was one of the first things my son read off my horror shelf was my copy of Creepshow.
So cute. How old is he now? How old is Emily?
11, turning 12 in a few months.
He's like the kids in Dairy. They were 11.
Oh yeah, he loved the Losers Club.
So sweet. So cute. What would you say is your favorite Stephen King couple? Or I should rephrase that grammatically. Let's figure this out. Who would you say is your favorite Stephen King couple, friendship, or team?
Mm. Well, I gotta throw some love out there for the Losers Club because I feel like they've just had my heart for so long. I mean, ever since I saw the miniseries and then like eventually read the books, and then shortly after that the movies came out. Just their friendship when they're kids is so sweet. And like at that time in your life when you think you're so alone, to be able to find solace in people like that, as you know, Dolores Claiborne and Vera. Would
Great.
they call themselves friends? I don't think they would use that word, but I love their relationship and their grudging respect they have for each other.
Great choices. Great choices. Oh, Dolores and Vera is so perfect because you're right. I don't think they would say that they were friends. I don't think either of them, if asked, would say they're friends, which is so wild to think about. Because friends is it's such a warm thing, and these ladies aren't just from circumstance. And so I love it. I actually love like, oh, they would not say they were.
Cranky old rich lady and like no nonsense Dolores.
No frills, Dolores. Do you have a favorite or favorites from the Losers Club?
I mean, it's gotta be Beverly.
Yeah.
So it's like she always had my heart.
She's just such a little totem for everybody. I love her so much. I
Yeah.
always, one of the other huge mysteries for me is Beverly grows up to work in textiles.
Yeah.
I'm like, how did that happen? Like, how did we get? Because we don't really see her liking clothes. Her clothes fail her a lot. Her blouse bursts open a couple times.
And maybe that was her origin story. She's like, never again. This isn't gonna happen to anyone else. She had it so rough too, I think, in comparison.
Definitely had to overcome so much more than everybody else. You're
Yeah.
right. I do believe the origin story for the clothes making future. It has to be that. Super into it. But that's always one thing that I'm like, how I want to talk clothes with Beverly. If ever I had the opportunity to chat with a Stephen King character, Beverly would be one of them. And we're going to talk about clothes, among other things. We're going to talk about men, sadly, but we're going to talk about clothes too.
Yeah.
You can have as many of these as you want because we've got some gems. Who are your favorite Stephen King females?
No, I think you know a lot
Yeah.
of these. I think Dolores Claiborne, top of the list. Like we said, yes, she's no nonsense. She's no frills. But I don't think we give her enough credit for how incredibly smart she is.
Yes.
Her pattern recognition with Selena, being able to put two and two together beyond like what people would see or think. Like when she sees Selena studying, she's like, okay, everyone would look at this and say that this is a studious little girl. But I know this girl should be out with her friends and something is wrong. And we are going to get to the bottom of this. I am not taking no for an answer. Like she is such a mama bear. She is breaking generational curses, coming from a mom who was abused in front of her. And yeah, I just don't think she gets enough credit for being smart, masterminding a whole crime and cover up successfully for decades. Carrie, my tragic baby girl, who I don't know, I know that's a later question, but I just want to save her, poor girl.
Yeah.
Beverly from It, she just goes through so much. And young Jessie, Burlingame.
Great choices. They're all such heavy hitters. They're so great. They're so cool.
I mean, there's so many. Nadine,
Oh my God. I just, if I could high five you through space and time, I would, because I just love that you see Nadine for who she truly is as this complex lady who, gosh, made poor choices, but also was victim to so many terrible things. And so I have so much empathy for Nadine, and I don't think she gets enough empathy in the King
yeah,
community, which is sadly, well, it's not a sad thing, but it's a male dominated community. It's a dude zone. And so I feel that for many, not the majority, but for some male readers, Nadine is just like that whore of Babylon kind of thing, like
yeah.
that archetype. And it's sad. and she's just not explored enough. And so I love that, like, the women are like, wait a minute, hold the phone. There's deeper stuff here.
Yeah.
And what's cool is King wrote her that way with complexity, and you can't just point your finger at her and say, this is a villain.
No, I don't think so.
Excellent choices. Huge fan. If you had the opportunity to get a Stephen King title signed, which one do you feel you would have him sign for you?
I think it would be between Carrie and Dolores Claiborne. Like, yeah, I'm not usually like a big like author signing or like special edition or like sprayed edges type of reader, but I mean, if I had to get one signed, and don't get me wrong, that would be really special. It would definitely be one of those two.
I love that Dolores is one that is at the top for you. I think that that's so special. And I think the time's going to tell on Dolores, and it's really going to get its flowers one of these days. I have a feeling.
I hope so. Like, I feel like King doesn't get enough credit for that novel. And I
Truly.
feel like we make such a literary hoopla about, like, oh, this novel was all a daydream. This novel was all one sentence. I'm like, okay, well, this novel is one character's monologue.
Yes,
And I don't feel like it gets enough credit for the literary feat that it is and that it doesn't feel that way. Like you get so sucked into the story and you forget that you are being told a story.
totally. And it's so, I mean, for King to come at this story at a time in his life where he's already been the most popular guy at the dance, and he has all of these accolades and all of this fandom, and yet he decides to say, hey, everybody, I'm going to write a story about a middle-aged lady, actually an elderly woman,
Yeah.
and she's going to narrate her life story, and it's going to be great. And he just, I'm sure some of the fans were like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? I want ghosty stuff. I want a serial killer. And he's like, no, this is what you're getting. And it's so brilliant. And it's like double middle fingers King giving us this story that I can't believe he wrote it. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. So authentic, so true. It makes me so happy. I'm so glad you love it. And I'm so glad like, the power.
Yeah. Especially after the reread, I'm like, heels are dug in. Like I would have said that before, but like now reading it through twice, I'm like, it's up there.
This next question is asking about suggestions you would give to non-King readers. Because I know that you are chit-chatting with authors frequently and book fans, but every now and again they do exist in the wild, the non-Stephen King readers. Do you have any recommendations for them?
If they're looking for like a classic like horror Stephen King, I would say Pet Cemetery. I think it's a book that like gets its claws into you. I will say I read it when my kids were young and I was really worried about how that would go for me. But I found it to be such an interesting and complex novel about grief, and especially about how Lewis and his wife kind of switch their philosophies on grief when they actually have to face it head on versus like how they're flippant at or their attitudes about it before like before it affects them personally. But I think for someone like going in, it's going to deliver everything that they want out of a King story. Like it's got the folksiness, it's got the very interesting characters up front, it's got big emotions, it's got like really good scares. And I think I forgot to answer this in your earlier question, my favorite King ending.
Oh man, oh God, this is a great choice. This is actually a perfect choice because this one is so scary. It really messes me up. It's so scary. But as you said, it's a lovely sandwich of so many of King's skill sets and
Yeah.
the areas he excels at in character, that small town narrative exploration. And then, God, you have this terrifying conclusion.
Have to look at the reader and know that they could handle it. But if they're like wanting like a true King book. That's what I would say.
It's a great one. That's definitely one where you would separate men from boys, I think. I like that. Do you have, what if they are a little fraidy cat and they make that known and they say, I don't want to be scared?
Oh, that's tough because I was going to say something more like Carrie because there is that layer of remove with the epistolary. So you as the reader aren't like in the room as things are happening. You're reading like newspaper articles or like interviews after the fact. And so I think maybe someone that is scared would benefit from that layer of separation. And it's also just such a great story told that way. I'm sure there's a better answer for the scaredy cats, but I guess that's what I'm going with.
This is quite brilliant. This is really profound. I like that a lot. Because I think most people choose Carrie because they're like, oh, it's the first, just start chronologically. But no, there's like you're unpacking something really nice. There's the reprieve with the epistolary sections, which I don't know if I've ever thought about before, but you're exactly right. Because it is a slow burn of this teen girl coming of age, and she's not having a fun time. And Chris Hargensen is the worst. And they're God, Chris and Billy, they have like the first sort of toxic teen romance. It's just wild how gross they are for each other, this codependent nightmare relationship. They're both despicable. And so we are just bumping along with Carrie and her mom and these blossoming powers. And then it does start to get very sort of dramatic. And then there's these time jumps of
Yeah.
going forward in the future that cause the reader to pause and think and sort of reground yourself. So this is actually very calculating. I like this a lot. This works.
Thank you. No, I'm gonna keep thinking about this. I'm like, man, what is like a good like entry point other than that? So it's planted a seed. I'm gonna be germinating on that.
Very, very nice. It's so challenging. Mine has
Yeah.
been switching lately.
What do you normally say?
For years and years and years, I was dead set on what is it called with it's the seasons one. Different seasons. There we
Different
go.
seasons. I still haven't read that one.
Oh
It's on my
girl,
shelf. I physically own it.
you will love it. The problem with different seasons, though, is four novellas inside. The first one is Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption, which is stunning, perfect from the first word to the last word. It is gorgeous. Then, so it starts with spring, goes into summer. And so the second story is called The Summer of Corruption, and it's Apt Pupil. And this story is horrific, Stephanie.
Yeah, I have an answer later. I think you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. So I hate all caps apt pupil because it's awful. It's great, but it's awful. I don't the subject matter of this story has really gotten to me over the years. And so objectively, lots of cool things to explore in there, psychologically fascinating. Subjectively, screw this story. Like get the hell out of my face, apt pupil. I hate you. So I stopped recommending different seasons because apt pupils in there. So I've been on the struggle bus for a few years until somebody recommended 1979's The Dead Zone. And
Oh,
that one feels pretty solid for a new King reader because gorgeous writing. We have a very tragic character, a very tragic protagonist who is delightful. We love him. You're super invested and interested in him the whole time. And so we also have a little bit of Castle Rock, and we're in the town of Cleves Mills. And so he's bringing us the town dynamic. And so I feel I'm probably leaning towards Dead Zone as my new recommendation.
I still haven't read that one either. I told you, like I keep looking at the backlist and all the big ones I still have yet to read. Yeah. I would say maybe also The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon
Yay!
for a beginner, for a Stephen King newbie. I feel like that's a good one.
It is. You're after my own heart. You're choosing the ones that I love so dearly, and they don't get chosen a lot. So I'm so happy. They're so precious. You are in for a treat with different seasons.
Okay.
And the Dead Zone, they are very hearty and nourishing. They are satisfying. They are memorable. They are very cool. And I think you'll really enjoy the winter story in different seasons. That one's spooky and poignant and very, very memorable. Of course, I'm forgetting the actual title of it. It's The Breathing Method, but I'm forgetting like the winter title of it. But it's the winter story. You're gonna really like it. It's wild. Then again, you might hate it. I don't know because it's shocking. It's got like a shocking, very graphic scene in there where you're like, oh my God. But I don't know. I think that you're very insightful, and I think that you would see it from many angles, and I think you would appreciate it, even though it is kind of messed up.
Okay, well, now I have to read it.
Minor spoil, it involves pregnancy. So I
Okay.
think I'm very interested in what you think about it.
Okay.
I have never been pregnant. I don't plan to. So I'm always very curious of women who have gone through that process. And like, it sounds like a horrifying ordeal. And so to come out on the other side of that with your baby. And so a character in this book doesn't necessarily have that work out for them. And so I've heard a lot of men talk about it from the horror perspective, but I think that's my next recommendation for you is
Okay.
the breathing method. Like immediate homework assignment is Stephanie's thoughts on the breathing method, because I think you'd have some really insightful viewpoints.
Okay. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I love homework.
Yay, me too. It's cool, but it's dark and sadly, I don't think this one can ever be filmed. Ever. It's one of those,
Oh boy. Okay.
right? I'm really excited. So you'll have to message me when you finish it. It's not super long, but yeah, that could be, you are the person I want to hear from the most on this story. So, okay, we are moving right along. We are kicking ass and taking names. Let's dive in to your favorite Stephen King animal or pet or creature, also applicable.
As a cat lady, I feel like I gotta say church.
Yay!
Church is my heart. But recency bias too with Gerald's game. Good Dog Prince. He did not ask for any of this. Poor boy.
Yeah,
Lived a sad, sad life and hurts my little heart. And I don't think he
yeah.
gets enough love.
Yay! I am all about the king animals that are slighted and sometimes get harmed because I am a big animal person myself. I am a cat mother first and foremost, but I also love dogs. I love all of the animals, birds. Some insects freak me out, but I have a gentle heart towards all the creatures. And so the king animals that don't make it or who have sad things happen to them, I seem to gravitate and hold on to them more. So I'm with you. I'm with you on
Yeah.
Prince.
And I mean, that's the reason I watched Cat's Eye. There's a cat on the cover. I was like, cat? Okay.
So there is a Stephen King film, I guess. This was directed by Mick Garris. It's on Netflix right now, and it's called Sleepwalkers. I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't.
It's like
Is
1992.
that the one with Machen Amick?
Yes.
Okay. I'm aware of it. Okay.
Sadly, there's a lot of cat violence and it's kind of gross. You see like a lot of dead cats. It wasn't my favorite, but we do see some very cool cat revenge that I was
Okay.
there for. But this movie is nuck and futz. It is wild. I can't even say it's awesomely bad because it's not. It's not awesome in any way, shape, or form, but it's just this very bombastic, strange film. And you'll be entertained. You'll be shocked. But watch out. There's just a lot of cat death in that one.
Okay. Well, after Fear Street, that's R.L. Stine loves to kill a pet.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. They always do that. I hate it. I get that it's low-hanging, frightening fruit, but
Yeah.
please, come on. We're impressionable youth.
I know.
Oh my gosh. They have a lot of sex in Fear Street, don't they? Are they sexy? Not so
No,
much.
the first one I think so far has been the most sexy. So I feel like maybe he tried a little bit and then like dialed it back for the rest of them. And that one
Okay.
wasn't really even sexy, but it was like teen boy having like sexy thoughts about the new girl.
Okay.
And I would say it's been pretty chaste.
Okay.
since then.
Okay, that's true. I mean, in comparison to today's levels of smut, it's
Yeah.
probably very, very chaste. But sixth grade me was definitely,
I mean, like people are going on dates and they're making out. Like they
yeah.
are making out at makeout point. Like that's happening. They're they're getting handsy, but I don't know, we're not getting details.
Yeah, I remember in the roller skate one that has haunted me. I'm going to figure out what it's called. I'll let you know when I do some research. But I think that there was talk of, quote, going all the way. And that was
Mhm.
the plan to go all the way, or they almost went all the way. And so it's very titillating in that regard for in the teenage sector. I'm going to find it. I'm going to find it. I'm going to let
You're
you
gonna do
know
it.
because it's one of those stayed with me forever. I think that was the only Fear Street I ever read. Yeah, and it was just, you remember in school, some classrooms had the wire rotating book rack.
Hmm.
And so that's where it was. And you could just grab a book for reading time. And that was in there. And our teacher had zero idea because we had Sweet Valley High books in there.
Yeah.
We had Babysitter's Club. And then Fear Street was just tucked in there. There we go.
Add a little bit of spice, you know.
I have a feeling based on where I headed after sixth grade in my reading, it was very influential, I think. All right, we have a few more, just a few more. This is a relatively new constant reader question that gives me a lot of joy because when you read a King book, sometimes characters come forth where you're like, if you were real, we'd throw hands. I really want to kill you. And so this question was born out of deep hatred for certain characters. But then I wanted to smooth it out because there's so many non-violent horror people, bless them. They're just so sweet and they don't want to cause harm. And I'm like, come on, who would you kill? So this is the question asking, who would you save from a fire and who would you throw into the fire?
Okay, I want to start with the throw into the fire because I have a list
Yay!
and unfortunately they are all teenage boys.
Excellent.
Top of my list, Todd Bowden from Apt Pupil. I think especially in our current climate, we do not need any more Nazi pilled assholes.
Yes.
So we're gonna put that dog down. And I would say Patrick Hockstetter from It, although I mean, I guess they both die in the stories, but yeah, just another gross bad seed. And Harold Lauder in there.
Excellent.
You think so? Okay.
Yes. I am not a fan. I don't care about his arc. Everybody's like, but Harold's arc. No, I don't care. Screw him. I hate that guy.
Saving from a fire. There's like so many. It's all like little little kids. Like
Yeah.
baby Jessie Burlingame and her like flashbacks. She is so sweet and innocent. Baby Bev. And honestly, in it, there are so many just instances of like violence in the town's history. I read that as a young mom and like, kids getting killed by their dad like via hammer, kids
Yeah.
getting blown up at an Easter picnic. Like there were just so many that hurt my mom heart and I still mourn to this day and think about all the little babies.
Great choices. So good. So good. Yeah, I am I'm with you on who's burning. And yeah, we literally gotta save the children. We gotta save them.
My mom heart can't take it. I mean, I can, but I'm also like, babies.
Yeah. And oh man, it's rough in these King novels. It really is. Oh God. Oh yeah, I forget his name, the little boy killed by his dad with the hammer.
Yeah.
That's a hard
I
one.
couldn't remember his name, but yeah, that was one I was like,
Oh man, yeah. There's some brutal ones for sure. Okay, this is a question asking if you've ever had romantic or bromantic or platonic attraction to a character.
so I think the closest was when I was reading The Stand and Stu, especially when we're introduced to him in the CDC. And I think it's because of my deeply ingrained anti-authority bent that I was like, I feel seen by this man who is like playing games and being snarky and demanding answers. And then, it didn't hurt that James Marsden would play him later. Absolutely not. One that when the adaptation came out, I was like, maybe. Yes. Rose the Hat. I was like, okay, evil, but hot. Maybe I could excuse a little evil. I don't know.
Excellent choices.
And I understand that it's hypocritical of me to say after I just said I want to rescue all the children and we get baseball boy scene. I understand. I feel the cognitive dissonance, okay?
That leopard is not going to eat your face, Stephanie. Rose the Hat will definitely not kill you.
I'm too old for her.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not alone. Oh, what is her name? The actress. This is what happens in podcasting. You get podcasting brain. Do you remember her, the actor name?
No.
I don't either, which is terrible. Of course, the second we're not recording, it'll come to me because that's what happens.
Always.
But she is strikingly beautiful. She is very vulpine and cunning and all of the great things. And Stu is so great. He's hard not to swoon for.
Yeah. Yeah, and I usually don't go for like the rugged type, but I was like, okay, I see you.
I know. And like being a Southwestern girl and growing up around cowboys a lot, like just in the culture and family members, and just they were always around. And Texas is its own thing, as you know, it's just its own vibe and attitude and identity that's different from the Southwest. Long story short, I don't want to like cowboys from Texas, but Stu seems to be the exception. You're like, why are you winning me over? I don't want to. I don't want to head in that direction, Stu.
Yeah, well, he like embodies like what you want to think
Yes.
like a real cowboy is, like someone who knows who they are, is really confident, and like lives by their principles.
Those are the best parts.
Yeah. So he's the fantasy versus I think the reality that you usually see.
Absolutely. James Marsden, years ago, when I was probably 19, I went to New York City on a theater trip with my uncle. We were just watching Broadway shows, and he stood right next to me at the crosswalk. And it was him, and I didn't say anything because he was walking. And I've always, since that moment, I'm like, I'll always love you.
Gosh.
When he's played Stu, I was a happy girl.
Yeah, he's so handsome.
Yeah.
Like the prince in Enchanted.
Yes. He's got one of those, very blessed in the looks department.
Did you ever watch Jury Duty?
I did.
Okay, he was so funny in that.
I am a fan. I am a fan. I'm glad you are too.
It was so good to see him be like silly.
Follow-up question. Have you guys watched Paradise on Hulu, which is a Stephen King recommended show? So we're not going off on too much of a tangent.
No.
I recommend. It's very fun. I think your husband would like it because it is post-apocalyptic. And it starts out as a political thriller and quickly becomes so much more than that. The way that it starts, you're just curious and like, okay, this seems thriller-esque, politically tinged. And then it gets nuts in a very creative, fun way. And the writing's good, layered characters, good pacing, lots of questions. And it is post-apocalyptic. And James Marsden plays the president of the United States.
That's my America.
And it's kind of nice. It's kind of, he makes a good president. At first, you're like, uh-oh, you seem pretty arrogant. You seem very Southern and arrogant. And I don't know how you feel about that. And then what smoke and mirrors, changes be coming, and James is just delightful. So as a James fan, I think this show's for you. I think you guys will like it.
Okay.
Yeah, you and your husband will enjoy it. It's like a win-win.
I get James and he gets post-apocalyptic.
Yes, yes. It's very, very cool. And Steve has sung its praises on the interwebs. And so, yeah, it's actually, we're not deviating too much from the subject matter. So, all right, my buddy, I think we have answered all of the fun ones, and we are heading into our final question, I think, if there is any that I forgot, please let me know. I'm looking at my chicken scratch. This is asking your top favorite Stephen King novels, or it could be titles, short story collections. Which ones are in the top five? Why are they
I mean, I think you know where this is going.
there?
I think we know who's at the top of my Mount Rushmore, and it is my girl Dolores Claiborne. I just think that it's an underrated and incredible book and just such a great time. I've already sung it's like a literary merits of it being this book told by monologue and also like written in dialect
Yes.
on top of that.
Yeah.
Like, we do not give it enough literary credit for that. Doubling it with Gerald's Game, that is, as we mentioned, a tough read, kind of all gas, no breaks situation, had a scene written that left me breathless. I
Yeah.
was listening to the audiobook at work the first time I ever listened to it, and it got to the degloving scene, and I had to like physically steady myself
Yeah.
like on a table because of how it was being described and how Jesse's like, oh my God, it's coming out. It's coming off like an orange. Like I'm peeling like an orange. And I have remembered that for years. That has been seared into my brain. So for me, art. I think for short story collections, I'm gonna say Night Shift. There's so many great stories in that. And I think it's, I think considered one of the classic King collections for a reason. I also want to put Everything's Eventual up there.
Yay!
And I think I gotta put Pet Cemetery. Like I love Pet Cemetery. I feel like I'm missing one. And I will think of it later. That is technically five, but I'm like, I know there's another one that I thought of and I wanted to mention, and I'm gonna be mad at myself.
That's okay. We are all about honorable mentions here. If you think of it, let me know.
Okay.
That's a stellar list. And I'm so happy to hear that you're a fan of the short stories. I think that gives me great joy. I love the short stories because you mentioned technique and how King, I mean, we don't talk about it enough. You're absolutely correct on what he does, not just with subject matter and our characters, but the structure of these stories. And
Yeah.
so short stories are purposefully condensed. And so now we really get to see him shine with brevity. Now we get to see him make the reader care quickly and make a memorable tale that isn't going to drag on with a lot of development. What he gives you, you're going to have to glom onto and pay attention and not let go of in this short space. And so I'm so thrilled that you enjoy the short stories and that they're in a high place for you because those are also slept on. So it's nice. It's nice to be able to remind King fans out there that, hey, you guys are forgetting the collections are pretty amazing.
Yeah. There's some good stuff there. And I mean, I also gotta put it up there.
Yay! Perfect. Yeah, it really is the cornerstone for so many of us. It's just like nobody can forget about that one. It's got to be there.
No. And I think for someone like me who's, like mentioned, struggles with like longer books, like the way I was absolutely locked into this story the whole time, and all of the places where I felt like my attention would usually be drifting off, like when we're learning about the history of the town, there's stuff going on all the time.
Yeah,
It's never not good.
correct. It is never not good. One thing that's really cool about it, when I talk to people who have read it multiple times, everyone says that they get something different each time, but I think it's you love a different person more
Mm.
each time, which is very cool. When I read it for the first time, I was all about my Bill Denbrough. I love that baby so much. I felt so close to him, and he was my star. And then when I read it again in my 30s, I think I was actually the age of the losers when they returned to Derry. It was Mike Hanlon.
Oh, yeah. The lighthouse keeper. Oh, that's
Yeah,
sweet. Yeah.
right. And I feel like he doesn't get his flowers enough.
No.
because there are so many louder other Losers Club members. Ben is a darling, and Richie, of course, is larger than life. And so I think that Mike's overshadowed a lot. And I love the people who tell me about their It reread and how they've changed and the person that's in their spotlight changes. So it's very special. It's just one of those books that grows with you. I don't know
Yeah.
how, it just does.
Yeah, I think I can definitely see that with it being like a dual, like coming of age slash like coming back to your hometown story. You get to see them as like children and adults. I love your answer of Mike. No, I'm going to be thinking about that. That, yeah, he was back in Derry watching all of this stuff go down, not being believed, and then doing the admin work of
Yeah.
getting in touch with everybody.
Yeah.
Waking them up out of their stupor and getting them to come back to Derry. So you're right, he does not.
So that's my holy mission, is to wave the Mike Hanlon flag. And you get it. Like, that's the thing. Like, once you focus on Mike, like, you
Mhm.
instantly get it. And it's so great.
Yeah, that is one thing I did not like about the new movies is they like took a lot away from Mike.
Yes, ma'am. I was very upset about that. I also love how in the novel, Mike is very regal and strong, because I feel like time has kind of given him the strength over the years, this very difficult position he's in. He just seemed to have this resilience that the rest of the Losers Club didn't have. I think Mr. Reed in the 1990s, he did a beautiful job. I think his performance is perfect, perfect Mike Hanlon. But then the new guy, I think his name is Isaiah or Mustafa something. He, bless him, it was the script, not his fault.
Yeah.
But I feel he was a little bit more like manic and desperate. And I'm like, Mike was not those things. I get a little too into it. We have reached the end, and I love your answers so much. I so appreciate you being such a tremendous guest. And do you have any final thoughts you want to share, or updates for anybody who is a Books in the Freezer listener, or any cool books you've read this April?
Oh, can I look at my Goodreads or my like recently read?
Is it Books in the Freezer on Goodreads?
I think I'm at like Stephanie slash or like parentheses books in the freezer.
Okay, cool. I will find you.
I have read some really good books. I made a video on one I read called Hooked by Asako Yuzuki, and it was such an interesting book. And I think I thought I knew I was getting what I was getting myself into with the premise with like this girl being obsessed with this like stay-at-home wife blogger, and then she like finds her in real life and like wants to be her friend. But it really ended up being this meditation on female friendship and like the realities of like what it takes to be a friend and how society views female friendships. And this was in like it's a Japanese novel, it's translated, and so like how that's viewed in Japan I found so fascinating. And then on a Japan kick, I also read Japanese Gothic by Kylie Lee Baker, and it was so good. I wasn't sure how I would feel about historical fiction because it's something I usually struggle with. Like it has to be like a really good author that tells a really good story and sucks me in. And that is exactly what happened. Like it got to a point where I was locked into this story. I had to figure out what happened. And then the way everything gets tied up at the end was so satisfying. So good.
Oh, I'm so glad. I love your recommendations. I am a fan because every now and again I do come up for air from the Stephen King ocean I regularly swim in, and I try and reach out and plug in with other current novels. And so I am excited. I always enjoy your picks.
Thank you.
All right. Anything fun coming up in the world of Stephanie and Books in the Freezer for 2026?
I've got some fun episodes planned. Anna and I recorded an episode that was like 2 hours long. Essentially,
Easy to
we
do.
Easy to do. It could have been longer. Literally, we just finished watching Mad Men. So we picked horror books for characters. So it's a little bit of that, a lot of just our feelings about Mad Men.
Yeah.
I'm hoping this is a purging of all my thoughts because every single episode this year has gotten a Mad Men mention because it's a show I had been watching and it had been on my mind. So I'm like, this is my exorcism where I am just getting it all out.
I'm a fan of this. It happens. It's
Yeah.
necessary. And that one is so, I haven't spent a lot of time with it, but that one, oh, it really gets me. It's just like a shocking look at, wow, these were the gender dynamics at this time. Oh my
Oh
God.
yeah. And that was huge for me. Like I watched that in college and I really did a number for me on my deconstruction. Like I think Mad Men played a huge part in me falling away from fundamentalism
Yeah.
in a way that Matt Weiner will never know, but I hope he does.
I love that. I think it's always great to connect the spark to
Mhm.
anything that
Yeah.
opens up that liberation. I also come from wasn't fundamentalist, but it was close. And so the deconstruction happened when I actually went to university and studied religious studies. And then
Mm.
I learned about, oh, wow, this is Hinduism, this is Islam, this is the ancient tribal religions. And so one of my Norwegian professors talked about who was a Methodist, and he talked about your frame expands. And so the larger the frame expands, the more data and information, then the less you know, the greater the world becomes for you. And then the smaller these roots become, or you have to incorporate more things.
Yeah.
So now we can't just look at the Bible. Well, what about the Quran? What about the Talmud? What about, and then it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And so it's a joyful making space that allowed for a lot of peace and balance. So I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
Yeah. I feel like we need to sit down for a cup of coffee and have a long conversation about this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I could sense it in the force. And I was like, how do I tell her I want to be her friend? How do I tell her I think we could be friends? It was just something that happened in school. And I love religious studies to this day. If I had the opportunity to go back to school, which I might in my retirement years, I might probably get another bachelor's. Why not? Who knows if we'll have a planet by then, you know? But hopefully we're all still here and not in bunkers breathing from masks. I'm a little cynical Sally lately. I think we all are.
It's a tough time.
It is. It is. So I think the dark humor is leaching out. But anyway, yes, we're gonna have to have a chat because I'm with you. I'm with you on like that process, and your eyes are open to the much larger world.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing. And especially, I think that's why, and I feel you're on the same wavelength as me when we read Dolores and when we read Gerald's Game, coming from the roots and the foundations that we were nurtured in. And then you see these females, sometimes quite literally breaking through
Yeah.
these very oppressive communities. It feels very close when we read these stories for sure.
It absolutely does. And I didn't mention this earlier, but in between my first read of Gerald's Game and my reread, I had several of my childhood friends come forward about abuse at the hands of our youth pastor
Oh my God.
and being groomed and sexually abused. So it also took on like a more devastating meaning
Yeah.
visiting that again.
Dude, oh my God, yeah. Oh, heavy. I'm so glad you brought that up though. Like we have to, oh my God, it's so true. And then one more plug. So this is encouraging your revival reread. So one of the things that King said about revival, he says, I believe people in faith have further to fall. So the character of our main villain, the fifth business, he is, of course, a Methodist minister who loses his faith and then goes
Yeah.
quite the opposite direction. And so I know that King has wrote about other people of faith and the how susceptible it is to
Yeah.
dark forces. and how it plays into we're in these churches and we're all sort of like, as that verse is, it's like sheep amongst the wolves and we don't even know it. And then we're kids and it's dark stuff, which,
Yeah.
we'll have to shelve it for another day because I'm going to take Stephanie's entire day. But thank you so much for being such an amazing guest. And we're definitely going to have to hang out again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on. And I was so worried about coming on here and telling people that I didn't care for the ending of The Stand. But you made me feel like that's safe, and that's okay.
It absolutely is. And I'm sure many are clapping and agreeing with you. It's a problem. It's a problematic ending for sure. You're not alone. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Cut and print, everyone. That concludes my time with the wonderful Stephanie Gagnon from Books in the Freezer podcast. What a time! Huge thank yous to Stephanie G for being such a great guest. You'll be thrilled to hear that Stephanie and her expert Fear Street detectiving discovered that the Fear Street title Kim C read in the 6th grade was none other than Fear Street number 38, The Confession. So hopefully in the future, Stephanie and I will reunite on her Patreon and chat about it, and you better believe I'm really looking forward to that reread. If anyone is in the Pittsburgh area, Miss Stephanie will be attending StokerCon, which should be coming up soon, the first week of June 2026. So hopefully you'll catch her there. Please say hi for me. I hope everyone going has a wonderful time. Make all the friends, take all the pictures, go to every panel, live it up for us all. In terms of updates for what's coming up next on the Year of Underrated Stephen King podcast, full transparency, I sound bright and chipper and happy, but at present, Kim C is still in the middle of some health stuff, which is slowly working itself out. Very grateful to be improving, but the pacing of things is a bit slow at the moment, which is rather frustrating, but I think it's going to be okay. I am in the midst of a season where I have to give myself a little bit of grace, but it feels promising to be doing so. It's much like having an injury that keeps you laying around and healing for a couple weeks. It's maddening. There are lots of emotional moments and bad days where one is really pissed off and you just want to feel/behave like your old self again, but you can't rush the process as the only way out is through. Without getting overly long-winded, boring, and rambly, I hope to have CUJO as our next episode, and I hope that will be soon. I wanted it to be May. I hope it can be May, but it might be June. If you haven't checked out the Patreon, now might be a good time to do so if you're wondering what additional Kim C output already exists in the world. If you visit patreon.com/dancewithkimc, that's dance with an S, I have over 80 King-themed episodes over there for your listening enjoyment, so I encourage you dive in over in that pool during this tiny chunk of recuperation. Coming up on the Patreon, I'm going to be dropping, as soon as I finish the novel, an extra special bonus episode that will reveal my thoughts on the 2025 Joe Hill novel, King Sorrow. Oh my god, buddies. Okay, I've never in my life deviated from King on any of my podcasts, but friends, people have been telling me for months about it. I've been dying to read it, and as you all know, Joe Hill is the biological son of Stephen King, and he has written a bona fide masterwork. I'm convinced, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't even have to finish the novel to say that, just saying that right here, right now. So I'll definitely have some debrief thoughts on that novel coming up soon. First ever deviation from the world of Stephen King, and you better believe it's for a good reason. It has been a wonderful read thus far, the kind of read that just gives and gives and gives. I love it so much, more on that later, and if you need a recommendation for a novel that will really whisk you away, King Sorrow, let's get it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so very much for listening. I hope to be with you all very soon. Please check out the Patreon. Feel free to say hi to me at underratedsk@gmail if you haven't done so already, or if you just want to say hi, I will respond to you promptly. Thank you, take care, and I'll talk to you all very soon. Bye-bye.